Well, it's true what you saw in our title. We are officially canceling our Universal Studios Hollywood yearly passes. But let me just say, before we jump into this conversation, it's going to be a little sit and chat, kind of stream of consciousness thing.
And if you, at any point in time, have I don't know, if you're thinking about getting a pass, you're thinking about getting rid of your pass, let us know in the comments below so we can be a part of that conversation.
Universal Studios. This was our first theme park pass we ever had.
Yeah.
When we moved to LA 3 years ago?
2001.
Right, 2001.
2021.
2021. We moved here. We knew we wanted to have some fun with the theme parks here. First pass we could get was this one, right?
Yeah, when we first moved here to LA, Disneyland had discontinued their pass system because COVID restrictions were still in effect statewide. So there was a mandate about how many people could be in proximity together, and Disney was no longer offering their annual pass. Universal was the first major theme park that we were interested in having a pass to, so we bought a gold pass to Universal Studios Hollywood.
And let me just say, those first few weeks having our very first theme park pass ever, those were like euphoric. We had the best time. It's like we had just moved to LA and then we were coming here to Universal and having this like idealized Hollywood theme park kind of experience. Amazing first impression with Universal. As you can see, we're big Harry Potter fans. We're here actually at the Three Broomsticks right now. We had one last meal. We had to have our beloved bangers and mash
Our
again.
last supper.
Our last supper. We had bangers and mash, and then we of course had to have the sticky toffee pudding because it's like crazy good. We just thought we would just sit down and share our thoughts behind this decision.
Yeah, and we knew this day was coming for a long time.
Yeah.
We have over the past probably, I don't know, like 6 months, brought it up in casual conversation about just how we're not going here as much as we'd like to, how life is getting busier, how we just knew that we were going to be ending our pass. We figured today, none of this planned. Like, none of this is planned.
Can you tell?
Yeah, we figured today we would just like grab our phone, grab our microphones, go get a great meal at the Three Broomsticks, and just kind of film our thought, talk to you about why we are discontinuing our pass.
Like I said, we love Universal Studios. We've had a really fun time with this pass. Big Harry Potter fans, so it's so fun to come here to the wizarding world of Harry Potter, to fan out for that. We're pretty decent movie fans too, especially certain like Universal classic movies. So that's been really fun. The studio tour here is just iconic.
World class.
World class, and
Yeah.
there's no other kind of movie studio experience quite like it. That's been fun to take advantage of. We've seen some really cool stuff go down here, but we have a lot of reasons, ultimately, for nixing the pass for now.
We actually experienced some of our first like big successful videos we made for YouTube here in Universal Studios Hollywood, and when we first kind of felt like the channel was working well for us, we were having fun, we were getting views, we were getting subscribers, we celebrated our first 1,000 subscribers in Hogsmeade with some friends of ours that we met in Universal Studios Hollywood, the SoCal Pals. They're really big on Instagram. They were just like so supportive and kind to us. We met up here and got drinks and hung out and chatted. We did not make a video of that process. So it's been so fun having a pass here.
A lot has happened here over the last 3 years. All really good memories, really good experiences. Like I said, we love it here. But
So the moment of truth, the reason why this video title and thumbnail is about why we're saying farewell for now. We're discontinuing this gold pass. And I'm sure we're going to talk about more reasons why we like it, more reasons why we think it's a great place to visit, but it's not necessarily our place anymore.
there's some things that have kind of come up for us that have pushed us in this direction. One is just the busyness factor in our lives.
Yes, yeah. As As we talked about before, we moved here in 2021. I had some major career changes. Molly's just gotten busier and busier with her work. So the thought of having kind of multiple theme park passes, because we have a Disney pass and we love to go to Disneyland,
Right.
Disney California Adventure really frequently. We have friends there, out of towners come to visit us there. It's a great place to hang out. It's a great place to have a pass to. So kind of juggling multiple theme park passes was starting to not make sense for us. Thinking about, oh, we have a Friday night to go do something fun. We have a Sunday afternoon to go do something fun. We were just almost always going to Disneyland. In fact, the past year, how many times do you think we've been to Universal Studios Hollywood?
Maybe 5 or 6?
Not many at all, right? Maybe not enough to have a pass. The thing that kept us in this pass kind of zone is that it's still pretty affordable.
Yes, which is great.
Yeah, in fact, we did an entire YouTube video about how you can do a Universal Studios Hollywood pass or a visit on a budget. And if you're curious about budget options, that would be a good thing to check out for you. So I think that kind of kept us on the hook for a long time.
But eventually, with all the busyness of our careers growing here, other creative passions blossoming as we live here, it became clear that we could really only juggle or maintain one theme park in our lives, and Disney's definitely the theme park of our hearts, in our hearts.
Yeah, it's that nostalgic park for us. I think that this kind of leads us into, I don't think we're gonna have a concise list for you, but it kind of is a good way to kick off some of the major reasons why we're discontinuing our pass is that nostalgia factor. The reason we haven't been coming here that much is that we have a deep nostalgia for Disneyland. I feel like when I was a kid, going to Disneyland was kind of this magical thing we got to do. We did not get to come to Disneyland very often. I went to Universal Studios Hollywood in high school a few times on school trips. Part of the nostalgia of Universal Studios Hollywood for me is no longer here. Rides like Back to the Future, E.T., those kind of experiences are no longer part of the park here.
A lot of the cool new modern things they're doing are fun, but they're not the kind of experiences that we need to necessarily keep reliving on a regular basis, because it's just oh, that's cool, but it doesn't, it's not very soulful for us. Like you said, the lack of nostalgia here. Can I bring up the next one? The next big reason why we're comfortable right now letting go of this pass is the food factor. If you know anything about us, we're huge food fanatics. We make a lot of videos about the amazing foods around LA. Now we've started some travel videos too, and those are always very food heavy as well. No shade to Universal, but the food options here are not that mind-blowing. It's why we keep coming back to Three Broomsticks, because this is the one spot in our book that is very good. We love the pub grub.
Yeah, and if you look at kind of the trajectory of our channel, and I would even argue this is the trajectory of our general lifestyle, because we're really bringing you along with us and we're making fun videos that showcase what life is like for us here in Los Angeles. One thing I will say is that Disney goes for it with the food.
Yeah.
It's not always great, but they do change things up really frequently. There are some really stable choices that are really excellent, but here in Universal, like you said, Three Broomsticks, right? That's kind of it.
There's Three Broomsticks, and I think there's a couple little decent outliers here and there, but it's nothing to write home about. City Walk has a couple fun things, Toothsome's a really fun sit-down experience. We love Voodoo Donuts, that's really great. Overall, I'd say it's pretty lacking for those of us who want to show up to a theme park as a theme park adult and go for it with fun, delicious food to try, great adult beverages. Yeah, Universal just doesn't quite hit the mark for us.
Yeah, size.
Size.
Yeah, that's kind of the next thing. I think I almost hinted at it when I was talking about the nostalgia and the rides that we're nostalgic for. Universal Studios Hollywood is physically a much smaller theme park experience. It's divided in structure between an upper lot and then a lower lot. And there's different lands and there's different rides, but just due to the physical size of the park, they can't really go all out like they can in Florida.
Yeah.
The Universal Studios in Orlando is completely massive. It's a completely different experience from it here.
So we've heard.
Yeah, we've never been there. But
not yet,
yes.
but we will.
And it's very funny because speaking of nostalgia, I would imagine that park, for me personally, is not going to have much nostalgia factor, more like wow and thrill factor.
We hate to even compare, contrast Disneyland and Universal, but in our world, that's kind of what we're faced with when we're making weekend plans or evening plans. And just the sheer size, the magnitude of parks at Disney, on Disney property, I mean, there's just like endless options of things to do. It feels almost endless between the many, many attractions, especially in Disneyland, all the entertainment, from like the little musical shows around the parks, to parades, to nighttime spectaculars with fireworks, cavalcades, the likes, even live music in like downtown Disney. I mean, there is so much to fill your time with.
Important distinction we should make, and we should say out loud, Disney is way more expensive.
Yes.
Like Disney is way more expensive. The next thing that I would maybe bring up is the style of ride.
Yeah.
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 I feel old here.
Yeah, we are getting old.
And part of that is that so many of the rides here depend upon screens. The Transformers ride, the new Super Nintendo, the Mario ride, that is very much a screen-based or an augmented reality Serenity Glasses ride. Harry Potter, the Forbidden Journey, that really relies on screen technology. The Simpsons ride, that really relies on screen technology.
Despicable Me.
Yeah, Despicable
Kung Fu
Me, Kung Fu Panda. I feel like specifically like the Simpsons ride, I rode that one time and felt like I'll never ride this again. I felt so sick after riding that ride, just sick to my stomach because of the motion sickness and the screen in my face. It just wasn't that like exciting or pleasant of an experience.
And I've talked to a lot of folks who feel the same way, who really struggle with motion sickness. It kind of leaves a really small list of attractions that they're even able to enjoy. Oh, I want to bring up the calendar.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Another thing that's a big reality of life here at Universal is what happens in the Halloween season and the Christmas season. Pretty much beginning of September, everything is oriented around HHN. And I know that is a huge selling point for people. People come out in droves for HHN. We've heard it's so fun. We have never done HHN. I think we will someday, but from what we've heard, it's the kind of thing where you want to pay up for the higher level ticket, like the express, so you can actually get through a few houses and not just wait in like 2 really big lines for the night, and that's all you can do. So like, we'll do it someday. When it comes to September through October, most nights that you'd want to come and do a casual theme park evening are out of the picture. The park will close early. It's set up for the special event. It's set up for HHN. That makes September and October a tough time to get here at all.
It also not only limits the park hours because the general park closes. Like what time does it close?
I think it closes at 6.
Closes at 6.
Yeah.
So the park closes at 6. And if you have a normal 9-to-5 job, that essentially means Monday through Friday you can't have a theme park experience.
Right.
So it's kind of inescapable. Hollywood Horror Nights is everywhere. In fact, today we walked into the park and you're just confronted with like all these like signs for HHN, and they have like skeletons out. They're setting up for mazes and all that stuff, which is very fun. It's very cool to be in spooky season, but it kind of detracts from just the general Universal Studios Hollywood
usual vibe,
experience.
right?
Yeah, the usual vibe.
I don't have anything against HHN. We don't have anything against HHN, and we're really happy for our friends who come and enjoy it. I know that people love it, and we genuinely love that for them.
Yeah. And we will. One day we will prioritize it.
And then maybe it'll like change our whole outlook. Maybe we'll be like, we're HHN people.
Yeah,
but
we're just like, we're horror people now. You know, I think that it's funny to just be here during HHN season and not go to HHN because like you are like walking up to like Secret Life of Pets. Like, oh, that's a very kid oriented experience. It's a really fun dark ride. And you walk past like a zombie or something. You're like, whoa, this is...
Or like a bloody skeleton.
Yeah, it's just kind of like a wild thing. So that's another reason why we just feel like this is the right time to give up our pass, because we're not HHN people. We will not be experiencing HHN this year.
Right.
Like you said, we will in the future. We will pay up for a line skip pass in the future too.
Do it right.
Yeah, just this year we're like way too busy.
Right. And then that leads me to November, December, January even a little bit. The holiday season, of course HHN is done by that point, but one of our favorite things in the world is the holiday season, holiday time at Disneyland. We're Christmas elves. We cannot get enough of it. It makes it even harder to get here because our hearts are just being tugged down to Orange County, to Disneyland, so we can keep getting that sweet Christmas magic, especially before we're blocked out.
Yeah, we have the Inspire key at Disneyland, which allows us to go pretty much every single day of the year, except for basically 10 days right around Christmas.
It's 14 now.
14 now this year. Okay, geez. If we have that free time, we're gonna go to Disneyland again. I hate bringing it up, but just it's the bigger park and there's bigger, more frequent experiences.
Here's what I'm thinking with timing. Pretty much September, October, November, December. The pass just really isn't worth it for us in terms of like the logistics of getting here, HHN, the holidays, busyness.
And that's a third of the year. That's a third of the year.
That's a
4
big
months.
chunk of time. I'm wondering, you know, is this gonna mean that we just take 4 months off and then maybe re-up our passes in January or February? I could see that happening because I do think we're gonna start to miss it here.
So not only are there these 4 months we're really less likely to go, Universal Studios Hollywood generally, even throughout the year, is gonna close earlier than the Disney park. I know we keep saying Disneyland like all the time,
But we're making this decision, like
Yeah.
every time we have like a free window of time to go have some theme park fun, we're like, do we do this or that?
Yeah.
Like we're in between.
yeah, do we go to Universal? Oh, do we go to Disneyland? What do we do? Oh, do we go to the beach? I mean, it's like you have to pick and choose options. So we're really just narrowing it down a little bit more. Other than those 4 months that we're less likely to go here, Universal Studios Hollywood generally closes on the earlier side. So, you know, we're working people. If we want to like pull a late night, we want to go to a theme park, we might not even be able to make it here before our free parking ends. So with our gold level pass, we get free general parking until 6 p.m. That's just like another reason that we kind of hesitate to come to Universal Studios Hollywood because we don't want to pay for parking.
Right, and like you could easily get here when you're off of work because
I
you're
could.
usually done by around 3.
On some days of
on
the
some
week,
days.
yeah.
But for me, I teach predominantly in the afternoons and evenings. I teach private voice lessons from home. I'm self-employed. And so just by nature of what the gig is, what the job is, lots of nights I'm teaching till 6, 7, even 8 p.m.
But once you hit 6, you have to pay for parking. And general
Exactly.
parking here is it $40 now?
For us, we would only pay like a discount, like $10 or
Yeah,
something.
we
But
would
it's-
pay a discount.
That ain't free.
But yeah, it's not free.
Right.
So we're definitely canceling the pass. We've decided we're going to cancel this pass. But will we ever renew? Will we ever re-up? Do you think?
I want to. I love it here. I will always have a special place in my heart, a certain corner of my heart where it's like, this was our first place we got to come be just carefree theme park adults. I'll never forget what that felt like to come here the first few times back in 2021. I mean, especially after like 2020 and a lot that was going on in our lives. Personally, it's just meant so much to me. Also, I am a huge Harry Potter fan, so is Isaac,
Yeah.
but I can't get enough of everything Harry Potter. I love coming here to Hogsmeade. I love just walking around and soaking it in. I just feel good walking through the front entrance, the front gate, seeing Hogsmeade. Even though there's snow everywhere and it's sometimes like 90 degrees, it still is something I love. I even wore my Deathly Hallows scrunchie. It's from my Etsy shop. I made this. But I can tell, like already, just thinking about it, if I take 4 months away from this park, I'm gonna start really missing it here in the wizarding world of Harry Potter. So let's bring it back to a positive sandwich, compliment sandwich.
Compliment sandwich. Okay.
Compliment
so,
sandwich.
Yeah, we'll do a compliment sandwich. At the beginning, said the things we really liked. Then we talked a bit about, more than a bit maybe, about why we're ending our passes, why we're canceling our gold pass. And now I think it's good to look back maybe and just think about like the fun we've had here and the fun
Absolutely.
we're looking forward to. So yeah, first park we ever went to, first video we made that felt really successful, really fun with our Universal Studios Hollywood on a budget video, our advice video.
Just getting to be that like Harry Potter fanatic, like adult fan, getting to just like step into the world of Harry Potter. I can't overstate how how much that's meant to me. It's been just very cool to be able to come here. Oh, one other thing, and this is personal to me. I'm so excited. But one thing that's been overwhelmingly positive for me about Universal is the solo park day aspect of it. I have come here so many times by myself for just like a quick morning visit, and there's something about Universal that just feels so easy and accessible and safe. Not that I would feel unsafe going to Disneyland by myself, but it's a bigger experience, slightly farther from where we live. It takes longer to park and get into the park. But with Universal, I felt from the jump, I felt like I can come here on my own for a few hours and just ride some single rider rides, get a donut from Voodoo, some coffee, and just be on my way.
Yeah.
That's been so fun for me. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with us while we ramble on about all of our feelings about Universal Studios Hollywood and why we're ultimately getting rid of our pass for now. I feel like the last thing we need to do is just go on that one more time. We got to do one more ride on Forbidden Journey. But until we see you here next time, we just want to say cheers!